Hey everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. I am Austin Ward. That is Zach Boren. You know what time it is. It's BuckIQ. It's the Silver Bullets, or whatever this unit should be called right now, Zach. It's still a work in progress. I know you probably still were not thrilled, even with maybe some slight signs of improvement for that defense on Saturday in the 41-20 win over Tulsa.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. It's definitely not the silver bullet defense, though, that what you see, that product that's being put out there on the field the past couple Saturdays. But, man, there were some positives people want to talk about, especially late in the game again. The interception return for a touchdown, some of the play of Denzel Burke, Cody Simon out there a lot more. But still, man, there is still so much missing from this defense.
We saw some – I don't know – how much to safety look. We saw some more blitzing, definitely way more than the previous week against Oregon. Kerry Combs went to the press box. Matt Barnes got the play calling duties and responsibilities. I thought it was a little interesting that they switched places and roles. I thought maybe somebody would call the plays from in the press box. We see a lot of defensive coordinators, I think probably the majority of them doing that. It was interesting, but I only say that to say there are 3 or 4 things that at least are evidence that Ohio State is trying to get things corrected, even if it wasn't ever probably going to happen in 1 week.
Yeah, they're definitely making changes to try and see what works, right? It's kind of like, hey, let's throw something against the wall right now. Let's see what the best combination is, and they're trying. I'm sure you're going to see probably this week against Akron as well. There might be some variations, like you said. You might see Kerry and Matt both up in the box this week, but who knows? At the end of the day, they could do as many changes as they want. The issue is there needs to be a better product on the field. And that's not the coaches, moving the players like little stick figures. These are the players actually being on the field and making plays. The inability to rush the passer right now by the so-called rushmen is staggering. The inability to play man coverage on a lot of these even simple over patterns, these simple crossing patterns is staggering. There are a lot of things that need to be corrected by this defense, and it needs to happen soon. Otherwise, Big Ten plays coming up, and there's going to be a rude awakening for this Buckeyes football team.
Yeah, this breakdown is going to focus on the secondary eventually, but it's hard to look at any piece of this without starting in the trenches. And this is a program for years that has been built around Larry Johnson's group and dynamic pass rushers and an ability to stop the run with that front four. And it's just the linebackers aren't able to do the same work. The secondary has to cover longer if they're not getting help. I think that more than anything, the correction has to come from those 4 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that has something to do with it. But as a defense, I mean, it's as a whole. If there's no pass rush, obviously the linebackers in the back end have to cover longer. I mean, it's all cyclical, right? From a defensive standpoint, one thing leads to another. And so, to be honest, I think if you are a Ohio State fan, I think if you're in that facility, you kind of got to look around and be like, hey, who's going to step up? Who's going to take some ownership of this defense, whether it be one of the middle linebackers, whether it be Haskell Garrett on the front? Someone has to step up and say, guys, what we're doing right now isn't acceptable. Who cares about all of our NIL deals right now? Who cares about, what commercials we're shooting on the weekends? Who cares about all this other stuff? At the end of the day, we need to put out a better product on the field. Otherwise, we're going to lose a lot of games into. Who cares? That's what Ryan Day and that defense staff should be thinking about right now. Not so much scheme, is we should play the guys who care about this football team and who care about winning games.
All right, they had a few of those, it looked like, on Saturday against Tulsa in the secondary. They were the younger guys, and then one veteran, Cameron Brown, who's coming along back off injury. Still feels relatively new after missing last year, but a handful of plays. Again, hard to call it a huge step in the right direction when you give up over 400 passing yards, but they got the turnovers that Ohio State needs, and they can work with that. Zach is going to break it down for us right now. Let's get into it and roll the tape. All right, Zach, so something that this team really needs, turnovers. That's really the way that this defensive structure is built and what they're hoping for, because they don't need to get 3 and outs on every single possession of the game. I think that's not what they're going for with the offense as talented as what Ohio State has. But it does help if that turnover is not overturned on one of the most inexplicable replay reviews of all time.
Yeah, we could go on for hours upon hours about officiating. And my gosh, it was awful last week, awful again this week. How this isn't an interception, I have no idea. But once again, the point of us showing this, Denzel Burke showing up. This is a true freshman who has been probably one of the only bright spots on this Ohio State defense so far this year. This is a guy who comes out, competes every single snap, every single game, and man, he is just making plays. I think he's tied for third in the country right now in total pass breakups. This kid comes out and plays so dang hard. You love this. How this is an interception, I have no idea. No idea. Denzel Burke, if you see this, is coming down to the ground with the ball. I don't understand how this is an interception. Completely blows my mind.
And how about this just technique here, Zach, to not focus on what happens afterwards. Got his head around, in phase, as they like to say, hand in there, and then the awareness here to rip, and it's always in his hand from there on. So I still couldn't resist looking at that, but the technique is just basically what you want to teach right there.
Phenomenal. I mean, striking his hand through the receiver's hands. I mean, this is absolutely perfect. Finds the football, makes a play on it. This is amazing technique. And this, guys, I want everyone to realize this is a true freshman. I mean, I don't know the last time a true freshman cornerback has came into Ohio State and has performed like this.
Yeah, not right away. I mean, that's such a challenging physical and mental position to play as a true freshman. He has been remarkable early in his career. And this was another example, Zach, where we've talked the last couple of weeks about personnel. Ohio State substituting freely. Well, for some reason, Cameron Martinez was not in that group, and then they throw him out there against Tulsa, and he gets an interception, and then I guess we'll call this one an assist.
Yeah, we'll call it an assist. Cameron Martinez, man, another bright spot that we saw on Saturday. Why he wasn't playing more up to this point, who knows? But, man, he came out there and just made plays, and that's what you need on defense. It doesn't matter if it's pretty, if it's ugly, whatever it is. You need people to make plays, and Cameron Martinez was doing that. Right here, staying on the crosser right there, getting his hand up, the deflection. Great defense. Yeah, you want the guy, the defender may have had him beat by a step and a half, but, man, the closing speed to get his hand on that, make the play, and obviously Ronnie Hickman being in the right place at the right time.
These are the kind of plays that when Ohio State has been at its best, you see a lot of these deflected balls and sometimes there's an element of luck with it going straight to Ronnie Hickman. But I mean, how many Malik Hooker interceptions were balls that came, into his lap with somebody else maybe getting a hand up, not just in his incredible skills in the ball hawk. They're not all going to come easily. Sometimes it's right place and having a teammate help you out.
Yeah, these are Division I quarterbacks. They're not just going to throw it right at the defenders. So, yeah, I mean, this is Cameron Martinez making a great play. This is Ronnie Hickman being in proper position with help over top. And a lot of times this is how you see interceptions on the back end, right? How many times you see deflections with guys, getting picks off of that. I do want to make a point, though, that it's 2nd and 20, and I know we talked about, this defense, everything being cyclical. Yeah. This pass needs to be better. I mean, we could have pointed it out on the last play, but even on this play, 2nd and 20, you got to think, hey, in my mind, where they're throwing the ball or they're going to have some kind of screen pass, whatever it might be. There was no threat of a screen in this situation. Defensive line has to be better. I mean, these guys are still covering for 3, 4, 5 seconds on the back end, and you finally saw them make some plays this week, but man, it could have even been even better.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's such a key situation, and then we have seen that from 44. He's been pretty damn good for another true freshman making an impact. I think his workload might continue to go up, and he gets that quarterback in a hurry and makes him move, and then lo and behold, you get some result in the back end.
Yep. You want to know something? Fours is that one defensive lineman so far, the defensive end, who's been creating any kind of havoc. And that's what you want to see. And you're going to continue seeing his workload get bigger and bigger and bigger. I can guarantee you that. But here, Cam Martinez again, man, being in the right place at the right time, reading the quarterback's eyes. You see that? He's playing some zone coverage, reads this perfectly, gets underneath the wide receiver, picks this off. And, man, the play. the play with the ball in his hands. I know our man Firm is going to absolutely love this. K. Martinez, a two-way player from Michigan. But my gosh, man, what he does after the play and what I want everyone to take a look at, Denzel Burke, my man Denzel Burke, number 29. Look at this, leading the brigade. This is a true freshman cornerback. I want everyone to watch this right here. This is a dude running full speed. Denzel Burke lowers his shoulder, whack. This is a dude that you want to see on the field each and every play. That's what you build your program around. Even though he's a true freshman, if I'm Brian Day and I'm the defense staff, I would have played that on replay about 50 times for everyone to see it. And some of the seniors that are on this team need to take note of the effort that number 29 is putting in.
Well, and look, it's also not just him, Zach, because when you think about that, when you talk about and pointed it out, I started paying attention because here's one from Lathan Ransom. Second year in the program.
Yep.
He's going out in front. Denzel Burke. Well, who we got here? Is that JT 2
44. Yep. That's 4 right there.
He got up. He was on the ground on the other side of the field chasing the quarterback. He's over here now on the other sideline outside the hash making a block. Denzel Burke and Bryson Shaw, he's still young in his career. We know he's made some mistakes. He's running. And this,
yep.
You see the energy, and it's all these guys that are in their first year of starting. You can tell that they are playing hard and trying to make some things happen. And this youth movement, it's no joke that they're the ones that are playing with the highest level right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. These young guys that are putting in this effort, those are the ones that should be seeing the field. The older guys who aren't putting in any kind of effort and, think that they're first-round draft picks before they even played this season, those guys shouldn't be seeing the field. It's these guys right here who are putting in the effort, these young dudes that want to win, that want to compete. Those are the guys that should be seeing the field each and every snap, not these older guys who think, that things should be given to them just based off of what they've done or where they are right now. These young guys that are showing some juice, that are showing energy, that are showing effort, those are the guys that should be playing each and every snap.
All right, there's another chance coming on Saturday against Akron. This is the definition of a tune-up game. But one of the last chances for Ohio State to try and get this corrected before Big Ten play starts up. I know that Zach Boren will be right back here next week to talk about it, as he does every week when we get into that Ohio State defensive breakdown. Won't call it the other thing this week. We'll hold that back until Zach's ready to give that to them, and they've earned it, right?
That is correct. There's no silver bullets coming from here until guess what? Till these boys show up. Hey, if these young guys were playing every snap, it'd be a silver bullet breakdown. But the way some of these older guys are playing, there's a long way to go.
All right, for now, we'll just stick with the BuckIQ. That's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back here again next week as we talk about Ohio State and Akron. See you then.